Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy here, back again with another video, another fantasy mock draft on Fantasy Pros Fantasy Draft Wizard. And today we're going to be doing a zero running back draft strategy in a 12-team league from the 10th position with one quarterback, two running backs, two receivers, one tight end, a flex, kicker, defense, and six bench spots, which I think is the normal. And it is a 12-team PPR league. So let's begin. And before I make my first pick, I want to explain to you guys what zero running back means. Zero running back, to me at least, means that you don't pick a running back in the first 4 rounds. Okay? And the way you would do that is by picking wide receivers and tight ends, and then at the end you're going to be drafting these running backs. This strategy really is only good in full PPR. I would not do it in standard or half. And I think the biggest bonus at this would be a 3 wide receiver league would be the best way to do it. But I don't think a lot of people play in 3 wide receiver leagues, so that's why I didn't do it. And um, I don't usually do it. I don't you normally do a zero running back draft because I think running backs win your championship, and I believe that you should draft 2 of 3 in the first 3 rounds. But I think that trying different things in mocks is good because you can see what the teams that you like is going to end up being if you use a strategy like this. So the first 4 picks are the normal: Saquon, Zeke, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, followed by DeAndre Hopkins, Todd Gurley, Odell Beckham, Le'Veon Bell, Julio Jones. As I always say, do not draft Todd Gurley in the first round, second round, third round. The only time I would really draft him is in like 4th or 5th round right now because of his arthritis of the knee. So at our pick, like I said, we are going to go receiver, and my favorite wide receiver is still here, Davante Adams. He was a great wide receiver last year. I think he wasn't the running back or receiver one because Tyreek Hill was, but he was up there, top 5, one of the best. And down the stretch, he was great. So I like Davante Adams a lot. I think Green Bay is a high-powered offense. I like him. I think he'd be my number 1 receiver if I was standing it out in PPR. So we're gonna go with Davante Adams. After Davante Adams goes David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Michael Thomas, Damian Williams. So normally at this position we would go running back, but here obviously we're going receiver, and we're gonna hope that one of the top 3 tight ends falls to us. I don't think Travis Kelce will, but hopefully George Kittle does. So we're gonna go receiver, and that receiver, the best receiver on the board right now, there's receivers the likes of Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, and I think Juju is the best receiver on the board at this point. He could be even the number 1 receiver by the end of the year, and I like him a lot, so we're gonna go with him. Okay, after Juju goes Joe Mixon, James Conner, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, Tyreek Hill, T.Y. Hilton, George Kittle, Sammy Watkins, Aaron Jones, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Leonard Fournette. So now, where we are here, we're gonna have to go receiver because the big 3 tight ends are gone. If I could go back, I'd go back and go tight end, but I want to revert because as in a real draft, you can't go back. So now we're looking receiver again to fill up our flex spot, and that receiver is going to be. I don't like AJ Green, so in this spot, I think Stephon Diggs. I like Julian Edelman, but I feel like the 3rd round is too much of a reach for Jules, and I think that Stephon Diggs could have a good year again, even though the Vikings offense is not that good. He's your receiver 3, your flex option, and he's a top 20 receiver in fantasy. So after Diggs goes AJ Green, Devontae Freeman, Jules, and then Brandon Cooks. So like I said, the way that zero running back goes in the first 4 rounds, you're gonna have to be picking of no running backs. So since the big 3 tight ends are gone, I don't see how picking OJ Howard here is a smart idea. So we're to pick a top quarterback, and that top quarterback is Andrew Luck here. Even though I don't advise normally picking a quarterback before later in the draft, for this situation we would go Andrew Luck to show off the RB0 strategy. So we're gonna go Andrew Luck. Boom. After Andrew Luck goes Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, Kerryon Johnson, Kenny Golladay, Kenyon Drake, Philip Lindsay, Cooper Kupp, who I always say do not draft because of his injury last year, and I feel like other guys like Calvin Ridley could be better than him. and every other receiver on his team is better than him, like Woods, Woods, and the other guy, Woods and Cooks. So Ridley, Jarvis, Chris Godwin, too early in the 5th round. Tyler Boyd, Deshaun Watson, Allen Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, Alshon Jeffrey. So now that we're in the 5th round, this is where we start picking running backs, and we're gonna need a lot of them. So the first running back on our team we're gonna go with here is gonna be it's between Tariq Cohen and Sony Michel or David Montgomery. And I think David Montgomery could become the starter, but I want to go with safety and go. We're gonna go. Actually, we're gonna go Sony Michel and then go Tariq Cohen because I think Sony Michel is gonna have a great year again, even though they have multiple backs on the team. And when you saw when he was on the field, that how well he did last year, and that I think the Patriots are becoming more of a rush offense as opposed to years prior. So we're gonna go Sony Michel. After Sony Michel goes DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Aaron Rodgers, OJ Howard. So we do get to see the Tariq Cohen we wanted here, and we were going to go him because, like I said, I think David Montgomery might be able to take his job, but I think he's pretty safe here. So we're gonna go Tariq Cohen. After Tariq Cohen goes Evan Ingram, Hunter Henry, N'Keal Harry, Corey Davis, who I wouldn't advise picking either of these guys. Corey Davis because he has not done well with all the receptions, targets he's been getting over the years, and N'Keal Harry because coming out of May camp that he's not doing well. Okay, after that goes Russell Wilson, Eric Ebron, Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, Will Fuller, Dante Pettis, Drew Brees, Golden Tate. He's X'd off. I don't want anyone from the Giants besides not Odell, Saquon, and Evan Ingram. After that goes Mark Ingram, Kyler Murray, very high for Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray usually goes in the like 13th, 14th round. Courtland Sutton, Cam Newton, Jameis Winston. So now it's our pick again. And we're going to need more running backs because obviously when you're playing a league like this, you need to make sure, or if you're going with this strategy of doing late running backs, the zero running back strategy, you're going to need to draft a lot of running backs at the back of the draft. And right here, I do like David Montgomery, but I feel like it's stupid to draft two running backs on the same team because you're not going to start both of them. So we're going to go Lamar Miller here. While I don't like Lamar Miller in the slightest, he is the number one running back on their team, and I believe that having the number one running back on any team is just an advantage over backups. So we're going to go Lamar Miller. After we pick Lamar Miller, Lamar Jackson goes, then Robbie Anderson, N'Keal Hardman, James White. That's early for Lamar Jackson, especially after, like I said in the last video, you should go watch it. It's the last video I posted. Also, since I said that, just go scroll down right here, just click off the video. Don't click off the video, just go down and click the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. It would really make me happy. Also click the like button, make that shit blue. So, Lamar Jackson, what I was saying was that in minicamp, it came out that he's trying to change his throwing motion, and I would not try to draft a guy this early that's changing his throwing motion, even though the big thing with drafting Lamar Jackson is based upon his legs. So we are going to go running back again. David Montgomery's still here, someone who I like, but like I said, I don't want to be drafting the backup here. So we're going to go Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny, who is also a backup, which kind of contradicts that, but I think Rashad Penny is going to get like a 60-40 split, and with Chris Carson, I think that he could potentially take the job. So we're going to go with Rashad Penny. I think Rashad Penny and Chris Carson are must-owns this year. Like, you need either or of those guys. I think both. I think potentially if you had both of them, you could start both of them, but obviously you don't want to do that. So I'm going to go Rashad Penny. Boom. After Rashad Penny goes David Montgomery, Curtis Samuel, Sterling Shepard, Darius Geis, Dion Lewis, Marvin Jones, Miles Sanders, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, James Washington, Emmanuel Sanders, Chicago defense. You don't want to be drafting defense until the last round, as I always say, uh, because the number one defense is not much better than the second best defense, their best defense, and you are going to be streaming defenses. After Chicago goes Devin Funches, Tevin Coleman, Kiki Kuti, DK Metcalf, Dante Moncrief, LaShawn McCoy. Very early for LaShawn McCoy. So we're going to running back again because we need to make sure that we get one. We need to make sure that at least two of these guys that we've drafted hit so that we can start them every week. So I think the best option here when we're looking at Latavius Murray, Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon has a lot of question marks. Same with Jordan Howard. So I think we're gonna go Latavius Murray. I think Latavius Murray is going to be in that the position that Mark Ingram has been in the years prior or last year, and yeah, last year with Kamara. So I think you'd want to go Latavius Murray. He's pretty safe, in my opinion. I think he's gonna vulture touchdowns, and as your fifth running back, he's a guy that I look for in a lot of drafts late in the draft. So we're gonna go Latavius Murray. Okay, so it's our pick again. After we picked goes Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Geronimo Allison, back to back, two guys on the same team. That is something that's very confusing because I think MVS could be the two, but I also think Geronimo Allison could be the two. But I think the guy you can get later is usually Marquez Valdes-Scantling, so I'd go with him over Geronimo Allison. So Darrell Henderson and then Ronald Jones. I like both of these guys. I like Darrell Henderson because I don't like Todd Gurley. And if you draft Todd Gurley, you need to get Henderson. And then Ronald Jones because I don't think Peyton Barber could keep the job the whole time. But Peyton Barber is also a guy that I like late in the draft because if he somehow retains that position, you saw in the early weeks that he was just dominant because he was getting a lot of touches. So we're going to go one more running back here, and then we're going to start looking at receivers. And the running back I like most out of these guys, like Jared McKinnon, Royce. I don't like Jarek or Jordan Howard or Hines. Eckler is sneaky. Same with Breida. I think Eckler had multiple top 20 weeks, and I think he even finished as a top 25 running back. So that's just hella value at the end of the draft. But we're gonna go Royce Freeman because I think Royce Freeman can take. Wait, his buy is 10, which is probably fine because we only have three guys. We'll have three guys in by that week, but we still have a bunch of running backs. So Royce Freeman is Philip Lindsay's backup right now, I believe, and Philip Lindsay's coming off of an injury, so I think Royce Freeman might be able to get the starts the first couple of weeks and in mini camp right now because I don't think Philip Lindsay could play, and I think that he could finish as not an RB1, probably an RB3 at the end of the season, and getting someone with that much value towards the end of the draft is huge for your team. So I'm gonna go Royce Freeman here. Okay, I just fucking missed 9 times in a row. After Royce Freeman goes, Anthony Miller, Peyton Barber, Campbell, McKinnon, Eckler, Samuels. Samuels is a guy that while I think Connor is going to get a lot of touches, well, I think he's going to be like the lead back, obviously. Jalen Samuels is going to be getting passes out of the backfield. He's going to be running as a receiver. So I think that he is, at this late in the draft, he's someone that I would also look for. Tyrell Williams, Jordan Howard, Kareem Hunt, Jordan Howard, I would not draft him. Miles Sanders, anyone in Philly, I would not draft from the backfield. They're going to use the RBBC, the running back by committee that they always use, and I don't really trust a running back in that situation. Then Jared Cook, a late tight end that I like. Adam Humphries, the Humph Daddy, who's now in Tennessee. Do not like him. Naheem Hines, Kenny Stills, Albert Wilson, both Miami receivers going back to back. Michael Gallup, AJ Brown, Vance McDonald, David Njoku. Here we're going to need to draft a tight end because we've not selected a tight end yet. And you can't forget the tight end position. All of the tight ends I really like are gone, but still someone I like back here is Chris Herndon, because he did pretty good last year on the Jets, and I think that there's a lot of that he could have a pretty good season, especially since I think Darnold's gonna get better this year, and I think that a lot of people are worried about covering Le'Veon Bell out of the backfield. That Herndon might just be open. And a lot of younger quarterbacks rely heavily on their tight end. Okay, so after we selected Chris Herndon, Jack Doyle, Deshaun Jackson, Austin Hooper, and Carson Wentz go off the board. Carson Wentz is a guy that I do not like at all. I would not suggest drafting him, even though he got a lot of money. I really don't like him. He's very injury prone, and Nick Foles is better than him. So, even though Nick Foles is not on the team anymore, I just thought that was funny to bring up. So now we're gonna go receiver because we need receivers on our bench, and hopefully the guy I want is still here. Robert Foster. Robert Foster, I like him more than Deshaun Hamilton. John Brown, I like him more than John Brown, also just on Buffalo. Robert Foster had a bunch of great weeks at the end of the season, going over 100 yards, and he's someone that I like a lot this year. And if you're drafting Josh Allen, him and Josh Allen together as the tandem is great. He's a great flex option, Robert Foster, and I think he might even finish as a top 20 receiver coming the end of the season, given that some of the top receivers get hurt. But he'll have weeks where he finishes top 10, I think. scoring like 100, 120 yards, touchdown. He's the he's a long option, very fast, and was slept on even in the NFL draft going later. So we're gonna go Robert Foster. After Robert Foster goes Matt Breida, John Brown, T.J. Hawkinson, Jared Goff, Ito Smith, Big Ben, Delaney Walker, Kyle Rudolph, Trey Burton, Donta Freeman, Adrian Peterson, Carlos Hyde, who I would not touch, Damian Harris, a guy I like later, Dak, Jay Ajayi, Devin Singletary, Jamal Williams, Philip Rivers. These are backup quarterbacks, and as you know, we do not draft backup quarterbacks or tight ends here over here on this channel. So we are gonna go receiver so that we have more receivers because obviously our bench is filled with running backs. So we're gonna go receiver here, and oh, these are running backs. I'm fucking stupid. Where are the receivers? Okay. Hello, motherfucker. Hey, hi, how you doing? Alright, here at receiver, it's not looking too deep here. And the receiver we're going to go with here, we're going to go with a shot in the dark, and you're too late. We're going to go Deshaun Hamilton here. I think Deshaun Hamilton is a solid option on Denver. Cortland Sutton also good. But I think that he could be a solid option. He was a solid option at the end of the year that in fantasy, and I think he's a good receiver. So we're gonna go with Deshaun Hamilton. Alright, my computer's just fucking frozen or some shit because Deshaun Hamilton goes, then Duke Johnson, Justice Hill, and now we're in the defense time. You draft the defense before a kicker, and you do not do that before the last 2 rounds. So for defense, you're gonna want to draft a top. You're gonna look at their schedule. You're gonna Google NFL schedules. You're gonna pull up everyone's schedule. You're gonna print it out. You can probably even look up NFL schedule cheat sheet on Google at your actual draft, and then you're gonna print that shit out, bring it to the draft, and then you're gonna look at it and be like, who has the best schedule the first 3 weeks of the season playing against a shitty team? So you're gonna be like, oh, this guy is playing against, say, who's a shitty team in the league? The Raiders. This defense is playing against the Raiders. So we're gonna draft that team, and they're playing against them week 1. So that's how you do it. You draft the defense against a shitty offense for that week, and then you switch every week. Or if you find like good three for the first 3 weeks, that's good. Then you keep them, then you drop them, pick up a new one. So we're gonna go with the Ravens here. I don't know if their schedule is that good for the beginning, but this is just a mock draft in June, so it's okay. So we're gonna go Baltimore Ravens. All right, after the Ravens goes a bunch of defenses and Kirk Cousins, and then kicker time. And then for kicker, what you're gonna want to do is just pick any of them. You should get kickers out of your league. I don't like kickers, and just add extra flex spot. But we're gonna go with Maher here because kickers don't fucking matter. And the draft is over. We got an 89 out of 100. That does not matter when you're mock drafting on this website. That fucking ranking means nothing. The team we finished with is Andrew Luck, Sony Michel, Tariq Cohen, Devontae Adams, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Herndon, Stephon Diggs, Baltimore Ravens, Brett Maher, Lamar Miller, Rashad Penny, Latavius Murray, Royce Freeman, Robert Foster, Deshaun Hamilton. I think that's a pretty good team for the no running back strategy, 0 RB strat in the first 4 or 5 rounds. But I personally think that if we could have went back and instead of picking Juju, we picked Travis Kelce, and then came back with a receiver like Stephon Diggs, and then got a different flex that I would have liked the team more. But nevertheless, the strategy proved that it's viable, but not the most viable in my opinion, because I like to have those top running backs that you slot in, week out. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys had a great Tuesday. I hope you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.